What's up, guys? It's KingDaddyDMAC, and welcome back to another episode of Miggin' and ModSauce. That's right. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing? I'm doing great. I'm doing quite fine. I am super excited. We got so many fun things to do. It's always my favorite day, my favorite time of day when it's time for ModSauce. That's right. So, what have we been up to? What have we been up to? We have been spending the last, two episodes? 2 episodes trying to get all this mechanism stuff going. I think we're gonna kind of stop with it today, at least take a little bit of a break from it. But we're able to get to the 5 times ore production, which is super cool. Last episode, we set up those salination towers, and you guys did happen to tell me that I was pronouncing it right, which I was super happy about. I usually pronounce things wrong. But in any case, we set all those up to get the free brine, turning just water into brine, which is super cool. And of course, brine's one of the important chemicals, gases, liquids that you need for this whole crazy process. We also set up making sulfur, which is required for something else in this. And we're able to make that from cobblestone, which is super neat. So I'm super excited. Now, the reason we're kind of taking a break from this is we found out that this isn't necessarily a reliable system to use. I guess it could be if you made a crazy one, but we're probably not going to be using this for every single ore. It definitely could be, but it's not the fastest way. And it's not necessarily the best way to do every single ore, but that's what I want to try and start figuring out today, is what ores are we actually going to use in this system to get the 5 times production versus being done in other ways. Now, believe it or not, I have every single production that I have going on right now is all on demand. So it's only when we ask for something in our system do we say craft that it starts to make it up. Now, a long time ago, we had a system set up over here to produce, gold ingots, iron ingots, copper, tin, all that stuff. And we had that running for quite a long time, but it's been about 2 months since I've had that up and running. We've pretty much just been able to work off of all the ingots that this made and not have to smelt up any new ones in months. Can you believe it? And if you look in my system now, so let's type in ingot. We still have quite a bit, but we are down. We were up probably upwards of close to 1 million iron. We're down to 150,000. We're down to 50,000 gold. We're down for tin, copper. I mean, we're almost out of some of these things. So I do have a lot of them still being worked up on demand. Right here, tin. We got a lot of tin still. But a lot of them are getting low. So I think we need to start setting up systems that are going around the clock, smelting all of our goodies up. All of our goodies meaning all of our ores that we've been collecting in the quarries for the past couple months. We need to start getting them all processed. So today I want to kind of figure out what's going to be processed in what machines and so forth, and start getting those other machines set up. And then that way we can figure out how many, how big of a setup we need for the mechanism in order to keep up with the few ores that we actually are going to be processing in that, if that all makes sense. So, and I think that would be cool, and I think it would be cool to start setting up these other machines. So my first step is going to be, actually before anything else, we have got to kind of disk defragment our AE system, all the stuff that's in our AE system. Yeah, because we've got stuff all over the place. We got to get that all figured out. And then once we can see how much we have of each resource, we can see what is stuff that we want to get multiplied times 5 versus something else. So I don't know if that just sounded like a bunch of hoo-ha, but hopefully that just made sense to you. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is, and we should have enough signals here. Let me see, blue line going in. Yeah, we should be finding the blue line. Let's throw down the blue line. We're going to throw down an MEIO port, and I did not mean for it to face that direction. Throw it down like that. Cool. So here's our disk defragmenter, and I made up a bunch of new storage disks, 10 more. So let's get all those out. Let's turn off our magnet. Let's make ourselves a new disk drive. And we got one right there, sweet. Let's get this bad boy put in place. Let's see, where do we want to put it? Suppose we'll stick this bad boy right here. Cool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking all these drives out, throwing them in here, and yeah, and then hopefully all the stuff that's stuck in these drives that it should be in those deep stores will be removed out of here, put in the deep stores, and then we'll find out exactly how much we have of each ore. Oh man, you know what? This little thing right here, this is the thing that grows our seeds for all the AE, applied energistic things. And you know what? This whole little machine setup that we have for the auto crafting of it, this will be a perfect candidate for going into one of those compact machine worlds, because this is such a pain in the butt. I have to turn off my sucky magnet every single time I do any auto crafting with this. Otherwise, I pull out all those seeds. We can see them growing into crystals. Such a pain in the butt. So I think we're going to have to do that soon. Maybe I'll even try and set that up today. In any case, it kind of occurred to me that not everyone necessarily understands applied energistics. I kind of, a lot of times in my LPs, assume that you've watched and understand everything that's happened in previous episodes and when we've gone over this, but that's not always the case. We have new viewers that come in all the time. So let me kind of give a quick, better explanation of what I mean by defragment all of our drives. And that's not really a technical modded term either. That's kind of me making up terms that would be kind of like to real world scenarios. But in any case, these are kind of like hard drives, like on your computer. They store, in our case, items or, you know, data or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to do an energy acceptor coming from a dense energy cell. Dense energy cell is the power storage for AE. This is going to... Actually, that's not even what I wanted to do. This was very silly, very silly. Energy acceptor would go on the node. Okay, so now this is able to change our RF into AE energy. Cool. So, from this, let me see. I wanted to grab out an ME chest, and actually probably a couple of them. We're going to make a separate little unit. So now this should have power. Cannot read storage because there's no storage in there. So these are a bunch of empty cells. Okay. So what we're doing is pretend for this ME chest right here. Right now it's empty. I just crafted up a couple more. All right. Are they finished? Are they finished? Yes. Okay. So each of these chests can hold a single storage drive, whereas this guy can hold 10 of them. Okay, now each one of these, when we look in, if these are chests, this is how much storage it has. Now it's able to hold up to 63 different items per drive. Okay, so when I'm defragmenting this is kind of like, you see how many drives we have. This is almost like having 10, 20, 30, 40 of these ME chests here. But let's pretend, let's see, what's a random item? Let's say bones, okay? So let's grab out a bunch of bones. So for storage-wise, if you have a whole bunch of chests where you're using for storage, even normal chests, you're going to want to have all your bones in one chest, all of your, say, creeper dust in another chest, all of your, you know, tools in another chest. You don't want to have it all spread out so that it's like... You don't want to have it where it's like one bones in there, one bones in there, one bones in there, because that's kind of silly. That's really silly, because now each of these, since they're only able to hold 63 different types of items, we're using up 3 different types when we really only need to use up 1. Okay? So right now we have all those different ones. If we use this defragmenting thing with this system, okay, so I'm going to throw the defragmenter on there. Okay, so we have, as we saw, we have 3 different drives that we're using, And I'll just throw some more bones in there. We don't want to have bones in each one of these chests because it's wasting types. Okay? So I'm going to pull each of these out. Okay? And then we're going to take one more new empty drive. See, there's nothing in there. We're going to take this one. In fact, let's take 3 empty drives just to prove this point a little bit better. Let's take these 3 empty drives. We'll put a new empty drive in each. So just like I showed you before on our system, I made this whole thing with empty stuff. And then we go look into our I/O port. These are the ones that have the bones in each of them. I'm going to throw those into here and see what it's doing. Now these 3 are empty. So what do you think is going to happen? Is there going to be 1 bones in each, some in each of them, or is it all going to be in one? Well, let's take a look. Okay, so there's no bones in there, 320 bones in there, and no bones in there. So what it did is it took the bones that were a few in each drive and put it so that they're all onto just this one single drive. So now that freed up 2 separate more types for us, because this now is no longer taking one of the types. So that's taking 1 type, and these are both taking 0 types. So that's basically what we're doing here, but on a much larger scale. So what it should do is free up more space for us. So hopefully that's a little bit better explanation of what this does. I hope that helped and didn't just confuse you more. But basically we're just organizing all of our drives, and or it would be like chests. Oh man, so this is way faster when you put acceleration cards into it. It's pretty cool. Oh man, it's like 1/3 of the time. That's a lot of different types of items that we're moving. It's craziness. So it'd be neat, you know, someday I'd like to set up a way that we could automate doing this so that after every so long, it would just cycle through and do this to everything. So anyway, I freed up all the space. Now this means that pretty much anything that was in any of these drives that should have been in our deep stores and wasn't already, now is. So that's cool. And that's freed up a whole bunch of space for us. Notice we don't have any drives that are red anymore. A lot of the types are filled up, but none of them are full. So that's really neat. So I suppose the next thing I wouldn't mind doing, I know this doesn't really have to do with our automation, but I wouldn't mind kind of peeking through here, removing all these drives and sticking them over to the side so that we can kind of see what's in here. Is there any ores that we forgot to put a deep store for, or just items in general? So let's see, how could we do this? All right, guys, so we got our little ME terminal, and this is interesting because we're going to be able to see now everything that's in our system that we actually own that doesn't have a deep store for, as well as over here. It's kind of interesting to see what stuff is being inputted into our system that's automatically automated. And look you can see we're getting, well, first of all, we're getting the nether stars, of course, which is from all those wither skeleton skulls. We have sticks now and sugar and spider eyes, all this stuff in the bottles. That's from the witches. We didn't put in deep stores for all the stuff that the witches make. So those are all stuff that we need to put in for our storage. And then the snowball and the niter, that's because remember when we did our thermal expansion things? Let's just peek over into here. When I have this wrench in my inventory, we can see through. All this stuff's being made because we have it on level emitters saying when we have under a certain level of this item, make more. So that's interesting. So you know what? I don't know why it stopped, why it's not continuing to make that since we it's because they're all connected here. So as soon as we disconnect this stuff, it's going to start making all that stuff in here. All those machines should have flipped on. Yep, you can see it flipped on right here. So it's doing all of our sand, it's doing all the snowballs. We're just going to let that go for a minute, but this is something that we need to change up because we don't have to use sand to get niter anymore, sandstone. We can do that from saltpeter, which we have a ton of. So I'm not going to turn that off yet, but that's going to be something we have to work towards. So anyway, this is all disconnected now. We're going to connect it to our energy acceptor right there. And this is now a separate system. It's not connected to this one here. So that way the storages are going to be on their own. So it's an isolated little network. So let's throw that on there and let's kind of go through this. So this is everything that we own and that isn't in a deep store. So do we see any ores in here? Or anything that's important? All right, look at that. All these bows. That's something we don't really care about. We can probably set to get dumped. I'm trying to think, is there anything we'd need a bow for? I guess there's a few recipes. But that's something that we might want to take note of to dump. Let's see, anything else? There's really not too much of anything. You know what? Let's look at let's organize this. Instead of by name, let's do it by number of items. There we go. Here's all the ores. There's mechanism copper, wool, silicon. Holy cow, sugar and spider eyes in those bottles. We really need to get deep stores set up for those. Silicon, coarse dirt. Yeah, so there's quite a few things that we need to work out. Ardite doesn't have its own thing. I think we had it right now. None of the ingots have their own storage. But this is kind of interesting. This is kind of interesting going through it all. In any case, yes, we need to figure out what's the best way to process every ore. Then we got a little sidetracked with this. It's just interesting to see. But yeah, you can see it's mostly just junk and random things that we have in here. Nothing too super important. Here's another thing. Galacticraft iron. Let's see. Ore. Alright, here's all different types of ores that we don't have done up yet that we need to do. So you know what? I'm going to grab a stack out of each of these. Shiny ore, sulfur ore, tin ore from mechanism. There's really not that much, but alright. Mechanism copper, silicon, and this stuff we're not like quarrying anywhere that really needs it. Let's see, firestone ore. Ooh, where did that come from? We don't have too much, so it's not really something we got to worry about. But I think we're good. I think we're good as far as all the ores go. I'm going to put all this stuff back in, and I'm going to start working out what machines we're going to need for the processing. All right, first things first, I want to kind of take care of this, just since we noticed it. So currently how we have niter being made is through sandstone. So we have a system that's saying when there's under 2,000 niter in the system, send sandstone into the pulverizer and we get a rare drop chance of getting niter, which is kind of silly. I mean, it's not that silly. It's free niter through sand, which we can make from cobble. So it was a smart and a renewable system. But now we're getting a ton of this nether saltpeter ore since we're quarrying in the nether, which I think I'm going to continue to do. So we should get this as a renewable source. I'm going to see how long that lasts. There's nothing else that you can use this saltpeter for. Let's see. We could smelt it into two of the normal saltpeter, or redstone furnace it into 2. Or induction smelter it into 3. Okay, however, that cost a rich slag. Alloy smelter, smelt it. Alright, so then what does this saltpeter ore give? That gives 4, so that would give a total of 8. That actually seems smarter to do it for the 10. Like this. Yeah, you know what? I think that's good enough. That's actually pretty dang good. So we're going to be able to free up some signals here by switching this over. And I think that's the only thing that's being done in this machine is this sand. So why don't we remove this, remove that, remove that, remove that. All right, so all that stuff's removed. Where's this? It's spitting out to the back. And we are going to, let's also remove, shoot. Let's reset it. Let's take this pulverizer. Bam. Hopefully it saved all of its settings. Okay, so it's going out the back like that. And we're going to change it from, instead of being on the side, we're going to have it go into the top. Redstone disabled. Now let's see, for augments, what are these? Are these the speed or are these? No, this is the secondary chance items. Now the niter doesn't have any type of, the secondary chance for it, I mean, that's netherrack. We do not give two craps about netherrack. So we're going to be able to change the augments on this so that we can go to speed instead. So augments instead, let's do the speed. So bam, bam, and bam. That's all cool. And we have the input on the top. So let's put the little AE thing there. All right, and we can then wire this a little bit differently. Let's go bam, bam. We'll wire it like that. There. And this gives us an extra space of room, which that's pretty cool. And let's now do the whole niter setup. So if we have saltpeter ore, what's that? Another salt ore. Okay. So one saltpeter is the equivalent to 10 niter. And you know what? People said I can do this in a little different way that's smarter. I think what you can do is if you hold shift and then, yeah, I could just spin my mouse wheel and it would take out exactly 10. So good to know. I do listen to you guys so much in the comments. You guys help me out so much. Let's do this pattern for the niter now. And hopefully this should be enough. I don't even remember what the heck we used niter for. But I know it was part of, I think, our jetpack system. Okay, so let's put this pattern in now. Let's remove that. All right, so that's all sweet. Let's change the augments. So this is the secondary chance augment, and instead we are going to put in that's the overclockers. Cool. So now it's going to be way faster for making niter. So let's try it. So now this is going to be completely on demand, whereas previously it did it through our system when there was under a certain amount. But that's pretty cool. That was super fast. And did that finish the system, what we required? Yep, all finished. That is super cool. And we also freed up a channel space, which is super nice. Now over here we have snow still going, and this is on a level emitter. But I think this one is something we're gonna want to keep like that. So anyway, let's put back on that guy. These ones we no longer need like that. So marble, and I know, we're getting sidetracked with projects that weren't planned. But all stuff that we needed to take care of. So this is cool. This is taken care of. That's neat. And those are all spaces for future machines. Awesome. Another thing too, while we're here, I might as well do this. You guys have been telling me, I know I said I wanted to put in more of these these fluid transposers for redstone, but one thing that people are saying I really should do is I should upgrade all these tanks. Notice we're using the smallest size tank right now. Let's see. Tank. Oh, maybe that's not how we wanted to say it. What are these called again? Are they just tanks? Portable tank. All right, so for the portable tanks, we're using, I think that's a creative one, right? Yeah. So we're using the smallest size one right now, which is pretty cheap, but we can definitely upgrade to the hardened, the reinforced, and now to the resonant. So this is no thing. And let's see, as far as storage, look at that. A lot more storage. A real lot more. Now, of course, this was really meant to just be for aesthetics. but that might be a useful thing for us to upgrade. So 512 buckets versus 8 buckets. Yeah, I think that's going to be something that we upgrade right now. So let me craft those up and we'll exchange them. All right, guys, so we've got all the resonant tanks done up. Let's plop each of these off now. And let's put these in. Cool. So we got 1, 2, 3, and finally 4. And we're going to want to, I think we have to wrench each of these, I believe. So what I'm doing now, and I've said I was going to do in between cuts a couple times now, is I'm going to take every single type of ore that we're getting, and I'm going to lay them out all side by side, and I'm going to look at each one and figure out what machine is able to get the maximum output of stuff. Then I'm also going to look at which machine can process it the fastest, and we'll decide based on rarity and what our needs are for that material, and between all that, figure out what the best processing machine is for each. All right, guys, so these are all Quarry World ores. So these are all ores that are able to be obtained in our Quarry World. No nether ores, even though I know these look like nether ores, you can get them in our Quarry World. So anyway, I broke them all up into a couple of different classifications. Most of them fall under this one, which all these can be 5 times ore produced. So they could all go through our crazy mechanism system to get a 5 times output, but isn't necessarily how I want to do each of them. And then there's the one coal, which I think is going to be done with the sag mill. But any of these could be done, the sag mill and the pulverizer, and they'd be about the same. There's a couple of small, subtle differences. We'll talk about that. We'll figure that out. But all the other ores that are in these other rows are ones that we definitely don't want to do or can't be done in the 5 times. So let's talk about those. First of all, we got diamonds and emeralds. Both of these, what I've been doing is through a block breaker, which has fortune on it. So let's run over here and just take a quick peek. We've did this in an episode a while ago, and this is the Breaker Plus, which is part of Quarry Plus, and is a really cool block because basically with a redstone signal, and I have it set up to be automated, but if you add or take away a redstone signal, it will break the block that's in front of it, that's right where that red dot is, do whatever enchantment that you have on it. For R1, we have Fortune 3 on it, and then it will spit it out the back. So a really handy block, doesn't take any power, extremely powerful, and it's also very, very expensive. It requires a Quarry Plus, diamond block, 2 dispensers, 32 redstone, combustion engine, and it's not normally crafted, it's done in an assembly table, which is part of BuildCraft, and we do with these lasers, or part of Quarry Plus, but they're kind of like the same mod. So this is it's a 3-block machine. Jasassin, who is a HermitCraft member, is the first one I've seen do this, and this little block setup is often referred to as the Jasassinator. But it's basically, you take any type of block placer. The one I'm using is from Open Blocks. This also is just like this guy. It requires a redstone signal, and it will put whatever it's in its inventory and set it on the block in front. And then we use this gold ore gate, which an ore gate, you can make this in the assembly table. So let's see, golden ore gate. So the different color wires and the golden chipset. And you put this on a cobblestone structure pipe, which is just cobblestone pipe with gravel. You set that down, you set this guy down, and then you're going to do the settings here. And basically this is just so that we can make a super quick redstone clock that's really compact. You're going to set that to inventory empty, send signal, or when signal off, send signal. So it's just going to toggle super quick and be able to break apart ores. But the whole point of this is that we're getting fortune. So any ores that we're able to get a higher output from fortune than we are from any of the machines, we're going to want to break this way. So diamond, for example, I did 1,000 diamonds through this system just a moment ago to test it out, and it yielded us, look at that. No, actually, this is horrible because I never mind. Forget I just said that. But anyway, we got on average, more than 2 diamonds per break. So if this is filled up with diamonds, bam, it's going to go through Fortune them all. And we're getting more than 2 on average. And diamonds, if you look in the machines any other way, if we do it through pulverizer or the enrichment chamber, we're going to get an output of 2 extra diamonds. Or in the sag mill, there's only a chance of getting an extra diamond. So Fortune's the best way to go for that. Other ones that I'm doing through this, emeralds, you get more than 2. And emeralds also, you can only get a max of 2 in any other machine. So the next one that I wanted to check out was Certus Quartz. Certus Quartz, when the pack started, I think, in the enrichment chamber, I think used to give 4 as an output. And we'll see that in a second, what it gives. But yeah, we used to get 4 dust, and it's still showing up as a recipe right here. And I'm not sure why, because now every time I've tested this, I'm only getting 2 out, which is fine, Every other machine, if you were to process Certus Quartz through, pulverizer only gives you 2, sag mill only gives you 2. So really, I'm thinking Fortune might be the better way to go on this now. So I'm curious to test this out to see if we get on average more than 2 with Certus Quartz. I'm not sure what Fortune will yield. Let's set this down. And I just want to see if we were to break this normally. Let's grab out this guy, our autonomous activator. Let's see what happens. What does this give us? Okay, we got a Certus Quartz crystal, guaranteed crystal, guaranteed crystal. Let's see if it gives us any dust or whether it's always one of those. Oh, it looks like it gives us 2. Okay, that time it gave us 1. All right, so it looks like it gives you more, on occasion, more than 1 anyway. Yeah. So why don't we see if we were to stick this through with Fortune, how many it gives us. All right, guys, so let's do this test. Let's find out if we end up getting more than 2 doing it this way, whether it's worthwhile. Let's throw it in like that. So 1 or equals 1 crystal. We're doing it only 1 because sometimes it will only give us 1. And this way it will never mess up our system. Okay, so I took all the quartz out of our system. As you can see right here, we have no quartz in there. So I am going to request that 1,000 get made. I think that's like testing the Fortune 1,000 times. And let's see, if we can end up with more than 2,000 of the quartz crystal, then it's going to be worth doing with this method. If we don't, then it won't be worth doing this method. Instead, we'll want to use one of the machines to get the 2. So it's going to take a moment to finish, but I'll be right back when it does. All right, it finished. Moment of truth. How are we going to do? How are we going to do? Oh, man. So look at that. That's like an output of, on average, 3.3. That's crazy. So yeah, this is definitely the best way to do it, using Fortune. And notice it doesn't give you any dust. In previous versions of the mod, it would sometimes give you either crystals, sometimes it would give you dust when you broke it. But this time it's always crystals, so that actually makes it a lot easier to deal with the auto crafting. So we don't have to figure out sometimes this, sometimes this. So it's always that. That's awesome. So yes, this is another method. This is another thing that we're going to always want to do with Fortune. So that's good to know. I'm glad I did that. I almost passed by that. Guys, let me know. Why on earth did the recipes for this, why does it say 4 in there? Because I can't figure out when it would ever give 4. And I don't think this is one of the things that can use oxygen or anything in it. So I don't get it. I don't get it. Let me know why sometimes it does, or at least it says in the recipes it can get 4. So anyway, that's good to know. Now, everything else, lapis we're able to get, I think, 12, I want to say. Let's see. So lapis is another one. Fortune, you could hypothetically get more, but on average, I think you don't get more than 12 lapis per. So that's a pretty safe bet. I think. That probably I should test, but I'm not going to do today. Redstone. The best way to get redstone is, once again, if you only want redstone from it, you're going to get 12 output doing in the enrichment chamber. Otherwise, with the pulverizer, you get half the redstone, but then a chance of the cinnabar. And in the sag mill, you get chance of silicon, really high chance of silicon. But again, only 8 with a chance of a redstone 9. So if all you want is straight redstone, enrichment chamber is the best. Glowstone, I believe you're just guaranteed to get 4. Yeah, you're guaranteed 4, which is cool because I guess the pulverizer guarantees 4 too, but the enrichment chamber's faster. So that's what's good to keep in mind there. And here you're not guaranteed to get 4. So in any places where the enrichment chamber is just as good as the other methods, you're going to want to go with this if you can afford to do elite factories because it's so fast. Now, let's see. Other blocks. Let's just point these out. Cinnabar. Cinnabar we're always going to want to do in the fluid transposer just because you're able to turn that cinnabar with the gelid cryothium into these cinnabars, which these are so important because they're used for all the thermal expansion duplication of ores. So that is always going to be used for that. Ferrous is interesting. Ferrous is one of the ways to get the super rare shiny ingot. So we are always going to be using, even though you could do the ore multiplication for it to get 5 times ferrous, ferrous isn't all that rare. And being able to get the 100% shiny ingot with the cinnabar, yeah, that's going to be how we're going to always do this. And you'll still get 3 times ore production, I believe, with that. The sulfur, we just did sulfur a moment ago. Sulfur is you can only really do it in the pulverizer. So that's how we're going to be doing the sulfur. Good to know. And coal's the only other oddball out. Coal, I have to decide which one to do. I think because we're using it for Ender IO a lot, we could do it this way, pulverizer, get 3 and a chance of that. But here we get a pretty high chance, 60% versus 25%. You have a chance to get a diamond, and it still gives you that 3. So I don't know. I'm a little torn between the two. I'll have to look at what's more important, this or that, which is basically interchangeable. But I think we're going to be doing it with the sag mill. So, other things that I noticed. We do have a couple of duplicate ores. And since we no longer have that automatic ore converter, that will be coming back, guys, by the way. That was not meant to be removed from the mod pack. I'm not sure why it was. Like, it kind of like was removed, but not really. It should be there. But anyway, we have another block. It's a little bit slower, but it does the same thing. The unifier, it's from Mine Factory Reloaded. Unifier, remember that. We're able to change all the duplications. Now, one duplication I was not aware of. Aluminum and bauxite are the same ore. So we don't use bauxite for anything. So I'm going to do a setup where it changes all bauxite into aluminum just by going like that. Isn't that neat? And then you can suck it out and then you have aluminum. So pretty cool. And we can do that with the duplicate tins, coppers, and all those stuff. Now, all these guys, I have to go through now and figure out all these can be done in either the sag mill, the pulverizer, or the 5 times. So I got to figure out what's more important to me. I'm thinking gold might be a 5 times one, maybe. Iron, although iron's so common, we use iron the most out of anything. So that might be, that was, you guys mentioned in the comments, that that's a good candidate for the 5 times. So that might be a thing. And then the rest we're just going to have to figure out. Also interesting things, for instance, like with copper, we are able to, depending on how we do it, in the pulverizer, we get a chance of gold, whereas in the sag mill, we have a chance of iron. So personally, I would think gold would be more important since it's a little bit more rare. 10% chance versus 10%. I'm almost thinking that might be better in the pulverizer. So all these things are stuff I'm going to have to think about. Let's see. Also kind of interesting to take note of is some ores you're able to, even though we can do 5 times here, let's take this yellowite ore, which is another possibility for the 5 times. With this, you get up to 5 times the enrichment, but if we do it in the induction furnace with Cinnabar, this looks like it gives you up to a 4 times yield. So that's kind of interesting. So if we're definitely going to want to get a lot of this if we ever get into big reactors, but it could be interesting to do it this way and get the 4 if we can't keep up with the 5. So that, and then the only other guy, and this is going to be the last one we talk about, is the shiny ore. This guy is super duper rare. So I think we are going to do the 5 times, and we showed last episode it is possible to do. Let's see. And in this one, you cannot get 4. So this one's a definite 5 times. So anyway, that's really everything for the ores for the stuff from the quarry world. So I wanted to point that all out, where things are going to go. I'm going to have to work out between, for all these guys, what I want to go in what machine. But I think we're getting close. So anyway, let me see how much time we have left and if we can start setting up our factories. All right, guys. So we're just about out of time. I'm going to figure out what I want to do for each of these ores, probably in between episodes. If you want to give me any suggestions for what you think is the best place for doing them and which ones we should do the 5 times versus in other machines, let me know. Or if you think one's better in a pulverizer versus a sag mill. In any case, we have time to do one last thing. Since we're going to be using this more, before I had it only for diamonds, but now since we have it also doing the Certus quartz, the emeralds, it's going to be going off like crazy all the time. And this thing causes block updates, which really isn't good. What that means is anything that's in the same chunk as this or connected to it is going to update as well. And it's going to cause lots and lots of frame rate issues. So we want to put this, ideally you want to put it far away from your base, not like how we have it right here. So let's go ahead and move it. We're going to put it into a compact machine, and I think that should be pretty cool. So let's go ahead and do that. This is the smallest size compact machine. I'm hoping that that will work out. And I want to take note on the west side is the side that we want to have the AE cable. So west side. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's go into this compact world. All right, cool. And let's see. All right, right here, west side. So this is going to be the side that we are going to want to put. I think we can just put it to auto like that. And let's get an AE wire out. Hopefully I have one on me. Did I forget to bring some? I think I forgot to bring some. Does my remote work from here? Nope. All right. Well, anyway, west side, that's all set. Let's plop back out now that the world's been created. And let's get out another star. This way. That's how you do it, right? Shift. Okay, there we go. We just had a little bit of lag there. All right, so now the world's saved. That's always going to be there. All right, cool. So now let's get all this stuff out. And we got to remember inventory empty, redstone signal, signal off, redstone signal. Okay, so let's get this all set up. Boom. Boom. Oh, it's going crazy. And I think it's actually that thing that causes the block updates. This OR gate. I don't know if it's actually the block breaker, but let's plop all this stuff off. Let's actually get this in a little bit closer. Let's pick this guy up now. Put him up here, just last show. Cool, notice that popped off. We're gonna put it back on. And boom. So hopefully now it's connected. Let's plop into the machine, compact machine thing. All right, and we should be able to then continue the signal off of there. I've noticed very often the AE has a problem, like working here. Sometimes it takes like a while, maybe even a server reset before it shows up again, but just something to keep note. All right, so now, oh, how are we gonna set this? We gotta get this to aim downward. Can I rotate this with a wrench? Yes, I can. All right, we want it facing down. How am I going to know when it's facing down? Oh, man, you know what? All right, here's another idea for something I can do to make sure it faces down. Let's put it there. Okay. Let's now get a matter thingamabobber. Matter guy, matter guy, matter guy. There we go. And we can take the matter guy. Oh, crap. All right, we'll be right back. Oh, man, this is why these compact machines drive me crazy. Okay, so two things. One, the matter thing can pick up a compact machine wall. That's not really meant to happen. Two, when I tried to pick up that block breaker, it's gone. It's missing. I got to make another one. Those are so expensive, so I'm kind of ticked off at that. In any case, I think we're going to be better off just making a larger size. This was probably a mistake to go that small. Oh, man. So, you know what? Let me get that set up. And in fact, maybe we should just do that next episode. No, I'm going to do it real quick. Oh, man. So I can't believe that happened. It's gone, and there's no way for me to make a new one. To make a new Breaker Plus. This stinks. I've been trying out all sorts of different stuff, like ways to convert power, but apparently lasers now. It works on the old MJ Buildcraft power, and it doesn't convert. There's no way to convert. I found this energy converter, which it says it's supposed to be switching like the old API to the new. I assume that means like RF to MJ, MJ to RF. But other than that, I mean, I didn't test it out in other machines to see if it's the problem, if it's not actually working. But I also found this RedNet cable, which Tinfoil Chef suggested I try, which is neat. Like, it looks like it's connecting, but it's not actually. The lasers still aren't working. So I don't know. And the only pipe that I could find that would even connect to the lasers is this kinesis pipe. I know gold's not the best. I guess they have diamond, but in any case, I can't get it to work. To craft up a new quarryplus, I had a little bit of stored power within the lasers that weren't used up yet, but beyond that, I don't know. It's just not connecting. I can't get it to work, new lasers or old lasers, so we can't use the assembly table. If you guys can figure out something that works, please let me know. It used to be cool. We used to be able to use this Ender IO wire, but nothing connects to it. That doesn't connect. The mechanism wire doesn't connect. The extra utilities wire doesn't connect. The nodes don't connect. I tried everything. I tried putting Tesseracts directly on it. The energy cells. I can't get it to work. So guys, if you have any solutions for that, can let me know. This definitely seems like it's a bug in our pack. We got to get something worked out. Maybe there's a way around it. If there is, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll make sure to let Jassassin know to try and do something about it come the next update, which hopefully should happen soon. We got a lot of things that got to get fixed. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We got a lot figured out as far as things that we're going to do for this next project, getting all of our ores automated and smelting up. So that should be cool. We can set up some big factories, and yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to try and get done a lot off camera in between this episode, next episode, so it won't be as kind of talky, tedious look at recipes, but we'll try and get some cool stuff done. Hopefully we can get this fixed. Anyway, thanks for watching. As always, if you enjoyed, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Helps me out oh so much and lets me know that you're enjoying the episodes. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, and yeah, help me out in the comments with any and all the questions that I asked, or if you just want to say hi, hi's are cool too. And other than that, I guess that's all. Thanks for watching, and peace out.